about 2 years ago, I think it was, I started thought process. I was involved with a task force in the city of Milwaukee, and it was a city county task force on climate change and economic equity. And during sitting through all these meetings for a year and a half with that task force, I started feeling like nothing was really happening. Parallel that alongside discussions with what we're doing here at Best Center, discussions I was having on the side with other people in the meetings, I decided, with the encouragement of Peter, to go after a grant from National Science Foundation. And the grant was to focus on the large part of the discussion that we had in those task force meetings on economic equity. One of the work groups I was sitting on was geared towards education and workforce. So I took that concept, I tried to put it in best I could into a grant proposal. That was in the fall of 2021, in October, and then let it sit. Then come June, mid-June, they finally gave me approval to go ahead with the grant. They awarded it to us, start July 1st. So I didn't have time to really get things going. But the name of the grant is Access to Careers in Advanced Building Technology. The grant is focused on bringing information about careers in the building trades, specifically, selfishly so, building controls, and another program that we have, Facility Maintenance Technician Apprenticeship. And so we start with the grant with the concept of going into underserved areas of Milwaukee, hosting workshops at community-based organizations, and through those workshops, the CBOs would be doing a lot of the marketing for us. They would send out the communications to see if they can get people into the workshops. And we had day workshop where the workshop was going to bring them information about the programs. It would bring them information about knocking down a lot of the financial barriers, cost of the classes, things like that. And it was telling them about how you get into MATC and start signing up for these courses. We have career coaches built into the program. We have a project coordinator built into the program. Blake, am I doing good on describing it?
Excellent.
All right. Kind of pointing her because I got to start going through this to kind of give you a better feel for it. These slides right here are what I actually use in the workshops. But just so you know, the focus of the grant has expanded quite a bit in how we're going out and marketing this, because this is meeting a base need that I have, which we've been talking about for the past 3 days, lack of students coming into the programs. We don't have the well-developed long-term curriculum and experience of other people, the alumni going out and actually helping tout it for us. So if I didn't do something about this, the program would die. I already developed an associate's degree at MATC, and it died due to lack of enrollment. And I didn't want that to happen with this. So this grant gave an opportunity to help supplement those students coming into the program and knock down a lot of the barriers that they have, and many things that were mentioned before. I mentioned a little bit of them, and the other ones were childcare. And MATC actually has a grant program that's called a Shakota Scholarship, which provides a lot of wraparound services, including potentially even giving them an apartment to stay in. So there's lots of different things that we can do to help knock down those barriers, but we got to first get them into the workshops to do anything about it. This is just a slide we have with these workshops telling you who we have in them. Our project coordinator, and we try to, as much as possible, put up our emails. We have people from the community-based organizations. This one's called Employ Milwaukee. They have a lot of grants, a lot of financing available. People from MATC. This is our what equivalent of guidance counselor. What's the right word for them, Rafat? Do you know? Career coach, or I don't know. So it's registration. Eric knocks down any barriers that I have with students that I can't answer. I go to Eric, he takes care of them. Courtney is talking about the financial opportunities that MATC has from scholarships, financial aid, things like that. And I'm the one talking about the programs. We are in the process of developing videos, and I have a video I'm going to show you in a little bit. That's the draft. I just got it last night from our department, marketing department, to start looking at it. So in order to have these videos be effective, we're going to be sending them out to social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And the video is to encourage people to tell them a little bit about the program, to come into these workshops. Well, with the video, this grant's 3 years long. We don't have all the workshops scheduled, let alone knowing how many and when we're going to be. So we needed a way to be able to have the video point people to a website, which meant we had to get a website. And so we actually, this is a whole, I don't know what the right word for it is, but this is a whole process you have to go through, at least at my college, in working with marketing, trying to go through all the proper hoops to have a separate website. And they're not happy I have this, by the way. They want everything to be directed to our main matc.edu website and my program, which is listed on matc.edu, but they won't be flexible enough to do what I need to do. So they can't say no and then not let me get my information up there. So I did it anyway. Just had a website, free one on Google Sites, and with the help of other connections we have here, mainly Kim Gonzalez gave me a link to a site that will take a website and put it into a QR code. So we're putting that on the flyers. That'll probably start next week. But the website will be listed on the video to help to encourage people to come on into these workshops. And then they go to this website. On the website, we're not quite there yet, but we're going to have, we have all the workshops we know of right now listed on it, but we don't have the links to registration, those workshops, and that set up yet. But we're working towards that. So I want to go to this website next and just kind of show you what it looks like quick so you get a feel for it. It's not fancy yet, but we'll get there.
Need the H at the front and the S at the end.
Oh, okay. I missed. There we go. This is just a basic Google site. And they're not, from what I see so far, flexible in how you can range in yet. But I really haven't sat down and tried to figure it out. But just, saying access to careers, MATC. There's a picture of our lab, and this is Kevin. Kevin was kind of a fun guy. Reminded me of Elvis Presley. But we list the events down here. They can just scroll down and see what events we have coming up. And we have those workshops I mentioned, which were originally, we didn't know quite whether it was going to be a couple days, one day, but we kind of honed in on this half day to 3/4 of a day workshop style. We have one this Monday I have to go give. We also list out other activities we're doing. This is the expansion part I talked about, where I'm going to do a summer camp with the school. So the school is going to pay me to do this. They're actually buying me more lab equipment to do this with. Then we have another one at another CBO. So this is a community-based organization that a friend of mine and colleague connected me to. This one here is the one that MATC typically gets involved with, Employ Milwaukee. There's also, Employ Milwaukee has these lunch learns for high school kids. So the general workshops are for adults of all ages. The CBOs, they target the population around where they're located. So they're located in the underserved areas of Milwaukee. So we're trying to reach out there. They have a lot of connections. The last workshop we had, May 24th, they sent out 40,000 contacts. We had 200 some people sign up. and we had about 20 people show up that day. The first workshop I held last December, we had 90-some people sign up, and actually when I looked at the list afterwards, it was well over 100, 190 I think it was. At that time, I said, well, we can't have that many people sign up. And I said, you got to let only the first 30 know that they can come. And so we sent out the notice to those 30, you can come on in this, and everybody else to let know we're going to have more workshops in the future. Well, we only had 6 people show up that morning. So I learned that time, I'm not going to limit anything. We get what we get. And these workshops, I have to order food, arrange for people to come in, all that sort of stuff. So it's a lot of messing around. In fact, while I've been here, I was told, well, we had 10 people a week ago. They emailed us this week, said, well, we have over 20 people now signed up, so I had to increase the food order. And different community-based organizations market differently. The one that is on Monday, they're really targeted, and they really work hand in hand with their people that they reach out to. So they have a much better sense that these people are actually going to show up that day. So we have these lunch earn and learns, which are really short time frames, a morning for high school type students. We set up at our Walker's Square location. We don't have a community-based organization hosting it, but there's a number of community-based organizations right next to the building that are going to help us market this. So that's our website. We list everything there, and we're going to have, you can see here, I do have a registration link. Now with Kim's help, we'll actually have a QR code there. They can just take a picture of it and be able to get to the site to register. So that's really good, and I'm taking more time than I was allotted, wasn't I? We'll get through there. So I list out what the goals of the workshop are, and they're basically do what I just mentioned. Yeah.
Have you thought about giving a half unit of credit for that all-day workshop you run?
I have not. Okay. The workshop, yeah, I haven't. Okay. It might be something to consider in the future. You can see on the agenda here, we break it out into telling them about different options at MATC, and the grant, we focused on just doing these stepping stones, which we've talked about numerous times here in the past couple of days already. But what we've developed these digital badges. Well, digital badges is a certificate basically, but it's one you can easily go online and see what it is. Series of 2 to 3 classes on the ones I developed that get them into one of 3 areas right now, which is building systems, where they just learn what's in a building mechanically, electrically, so that they start to understand what they're going to work with when they get into controls. Another digital badge is control technician, and that's a series of 3 classes. It's our 3 fundamental controls courses: Control Theory 1, Control Theory 2, Control Theory 3. Then the third one is our energy management technician track, which is measurement and verification, energy auditing, and commissioning. So they have the opportunity to take one of those 3 to start getting them in the field. We have lined up when that happens, and I was talking a little bit with John about this. When they start taking courses, we're going to connect them with an employer to hire them part-time so that they can get their foot in the door. And the employers we have lined up, I said, I don't care what it is. I just want them to get into your company to start to see the different career paths they have available to them. So Johnson Controls stepped up for that. We have a management company that manages a lot of real estate stepped up for that. We have a number of contractors that have done it. And the biggest one that so far has been the healthcare system. We have a company called Aurora Healthcare that has agreed to hire people part-time. And they're really driving the other side of what I'm going to talk about here, which is the apprenticeship part of it. So that way they're learning about career opportunities as they're going through this. Then the goal is for them to complete that digital badge or a pre-apprenticeship. So the pre-apprenticeship actually takes a little bit more because there's 4 classes involved with that. And they also have to be hooked up with an employer that has the interest of hiring them potentially as an apprenticeship or as an apprentice. So all these job opportunities are giving companies a chance to kind of test drive potential employees, and it's giving these students an opportunity to get paid while they're in school. Oh, and by the way, forgot to mention, some of the grants that the community-based organizations have will pay the students $10 an hour while they're sitting in the seats in school. So we're getting all these different, we're trying to knock down as many barriers as possible for them to come in and see things and make it as quick as possible. That's why it's just a digital badge type of an approach. On the back end, our interest will be, like for the facilities maintenance technician apprenticeship, for them, they can go into that apprenticeship from taking this pre-apprenticeship. The digital badges, our goal will be with those people to encourage them to continue to take the full diploma program on building controls, the BAS program we have. So we're building into this this intent to have them think about continuous education to further their careers. We have a hands-on lab where we actually take them through a 2x2 piece of wood that has a thermostat set up on it with 12 volt DC, 24 volt DC, and 24 volt AC. And the thermostat we take them through what thermostat does so they understand where it's pushing or allowing electricity to control this or that. We have a digital display on there, and I think I have some pictures I'll show you. But there's a digital display on there so you can say how much heating they want, how much they don't want. That's where the 24 volt DC comes in to power that up. And that was something that through Robert I was able to find out about, one. And number two, his connection here locally, Control Depot, that's who I order it through. So we have this lab, this training board all set up. We take them through that and we talk about electricity a little bit. We give them digital multimeters. So these are things they're going to take home with them at the end of the day. And it's just a low-end digital multimeter from Menards. That's what we're doing. So you can go get this low-cost item from many different places. And that gives them the opportunity to start going, hey, this is kind of fun. I'm taking measurements, and I'm starting to learn a little bit about electricity. Then we have a break for lunch, and over lunch, we bring in guest speakers. John may be on my one-on-one in July. I got
July 10th.
July 10th. So come in, speak about the field, speak about what their company does, speak about job opportunities, and where they see things going. Just quick 15 minutes, half hour, depending upon what it is, while all the attendees are eating lunch, which we pay for. I bring in sandwiches, and they just eat and listen. Then we go back to our hands-on lab. They actually start taking voltage measurements. I have a series of steps they go through, and I probably won't bring it up, but it's just a one sheet taking measurements. I get them to tell us is it AC or DC, and what is the voltage you measure. And it forces them to have to learn to use that digital multimeter, which is a nice little thing. Then at the end, we wrap it up. I bring in my guy Eric Riley, and he snags them in to register them for courses, and gets them into the MATC process, and then that's the end of the day. Let them take home their digital multimeter, and away they go. So after this workshop, now some more heavy lifting has to come from my end and my coordinators, and where we're going to reach out to everybody that has registered for classes to start connecting them to all these other resources, because they heard about the resources, but they are not necessarily reaching out to Employ Milwaukee or the Silver Spring Neighborhood Center to start engaging with that, or MATC for that matter. So we're going to actually reach out to them to connect them to those resources and find out what they have, what might be more barriers that they have to get into taking courses in the fall. So that's the way the grant is set up. we are documenting all this information. We're disseminating it through events like this, but there will be, at the end of this grant, a listing of what we did, how we did it, connections for, what type of community-based organizations we're going into and things like that, to hopefully be able to share it and have other people actually implement it in their areas. That's the basis of the grant. I had a lot more I was going to go through, but I don't want to keep us from lunch anymore. Any questions? Mario?
What is Earn and Learn on your website? You had a Earn and
Yeah,
Learn.
earn and learn. I don't really know. The community-based organization has these for high school students, and it's basically a way for us to introduce our program so that they can walk away with something. And I'm not quite sure what they're going to have associated with that. I think the community-based organization allows them to earn something that they can take back and say, hey, I did this.
Is it maybe the amount of money that they pay them for attending or not?
It might be. Maybe they paid them to be there. I'm not. I don't know. One of the things I found with this half of the year, we brought the coordinator on, and since she's come on board, we've just really ramped up our marketing efforts, and much to many people around me's chagrin, I have not said no to anything, and so all these things have been getting on my plate, and I just really haven't been able to nail everything down. And what you saw for the list of events is not everything that I have going on relative to this grant to try to promote what we're doing. So, as a result, some minor details like that, Mario, slip through the cracks. Anybody else? If you're looking for meaningful work with good pay and growing career fields, Milwaukee Regional College wants to help you. This 1 minute long. The one thing, there's a lot more that's got to be done because our videographer came to the last workshop and videotaped somebody, but the person's not real dynamic, and you'll find out at the end. Not that I am, but what I want to tell them to do is get more of me out of here and get potential students in here to talk about what they're going to do. And as a result, I asked him to come to our workshop on Monday last night, and he said he's going to do some more videotaping. We'll have the website up here. Scholarships that pay for tuition, books. That's my lab in the background. Transportation, food, and childcare. If you're still not sure, just listen to what a recent workshop participant had to say.
We've been learning the basics of how to use certain equipment, what do they do, what wires, safety protocols and stuff like that, so make sure everything's working, so I want to be a part of that.
Register today. Click the link in the description below. What's what he just said? To me, it just doesn't seem real. You feel that way too? Okay. He was really excited about doing this. Matter of fact, his dad had asked him to come into the workshop, and before, hour in the workshop, he was saying, I'm going to sign up for this. So, just didn't come through in his demeanor.
It's probably a good idea to have a few variations on this anyway.
Yeah.
How
My
many
marketing.
takes did you do on that?
What's that?
How many takes of him did you do?
Of him? I don't know how many he did. He was doing that while I was doing other things.
Okay.
So. All right.